Hello. So before we go any further, I know some people are still playing through Crown Tundra. I myself am still playing through Crown Tundra. This video, I played about 2 hours on stream of Crown Tundra. This video will have some spoilers in it, so before we proceed, I'm going to title this ambiguously, not include anything that wasn't already revealed, but I do want to let everyone know that if you don't want to learn any spoilers, it's safest to click off of the video now, just before we proceed. So today we're going to be talking about Calyrex. Calyrex is the legendary Pokemon featured in the Crown Tundra. Full disclosure, I have not finished the story. If you can avoid spoiling me, that would be great, just in general. I'll let you all know when I finish playing, but that's kind of a lofty goal. But regardless, Calyrex is the Pokemon introduced in Crown Tundra, is one of the legendary Pokemon introduced in Crown Tundra. Now, we're going to take a look at it on Cerebi and talk a little bit about basically the viability, kind of the context behind it. So the first thing, and this is where our spoilers kick in, there's two formies of Calyrex. There's Ice Rider and Ghost Rider Calyrex. Effectively, Calyrex fuses with these other Pokemon, two of them in fact, which we'll talk about as well, Spectrier and Ice-Trier. I don't remember what it's actually called, Glastrier. These can fuse with Calyrex and create an extremely powerful Pokemon. Now, the VGC rules are out. I might do a video kind of covering them, but I need to make sure that I understand them myself first. But my understanding is Calyrex is not legal in these rules. However, the individual horses might be. So the fusions are not legal currently. They probably will be in restricted format. Now, I'm excited about Calyrex. Its base stats, unfortunately, aren't amazing on its own. You see, it's got good HP, base 80s, right? Which is not phenomenal. Even a lot of legendary and mythical Pokemon at base 100s. It's not terrible, but yeah, it's not great. However, when it fuses, or whatever, I don't actually know the mechanism yet, but when it joins forces with these, in the Ice Rider or the Shadow Rider form, its stats become ridiculous. So it has base 100 HP, it keeps that, which is, base 100 is great. Base 100 is really good. However, its attack on the Ice Rider spikes up to 165, as does the special attack on the Ghost Rider. Huge defenses in 150, 130, and then a base 50 speed, which is really good for a Trick Room Pokemon. And then on the Shadow Rider, you can see that you have base 100 HP, lower base attack, lower base defense, really high special attack, good special defense, and then really high speed. So basically the way that this is going to work is that, I'll zoom in a little, people always complain. How's that? With the Ghost form, this is going to be a hyper-offensive Glass Cannon Pokemon in a restricted format. You won't be able to use this in VGC 2021, at least in the first part, which goes until January. You can't use any of these as the combined form, but basically, yeah, the Ghost form, which we'll take a look at first because it's easier to understand. Oh wait, before we even do that, we should talk about the abilities. The abilities are broken. Base form, Calyrex has Unnerve because it has a big head, right? It has Unnerve, which means no berries. It's a good ability. No one's ever complaining about Unnerve. It's not broken by any means, but it's useful in situations in certain metagames. However, the Ghost, the fusion forms have a different ability. It's Beast Boost, but for your offensive stat, which is actually really good. So the special attacking one, the Ghost one, gets special attack boost, and the physical one the Ice one gets the attack boost whenever it gets a KO. In addition to this, it also gets a Nerve, so it fuses the abilities as well, which is unusual. And really interesting, actually, a fusion of abilities. So yeah, basically, all three forms have a Nerve, and then the fusions have Beast Boost as well for their offensive stat of choice. Yeah, so with that being said, let's look at some of the stuff. Base Calyrex is interesting. Like I said, you're almost never going to use this just because the fusion forms are better. It just has decent support moves like Leech Seed, Heal Pulse. You can even see its move pool is really lacking just from level up. Although you can't determine everything from level up. However, when it fuses, it gets really interesting moves. This is a new move, Glacial Lance. It's a 130 base power, 100% accurate Ice-type physical move. Absolutely broken. Absolutely broken. Legitimately broken. Really, really, really powerful. Iron Defense is interesting. Remember that this Ice one is extremely extremely bulky and really slow. So you're going to want to be running probably Icicle Lance, Protect, but then you also keep all of the original level moves of Calyrex. Leech Seed, Heal Pulse. It's just an improved version. You get all these bonus moves that you can use, Swords Dance, and you also get your original moves, which you talked about. Some good support moves there, right? The special one has a 120 base power special attack, Astral Barrage. Really strong. Again, 100% accuracy. Normally for a move this powerful, you'd have some kind of drawback, so to have 0 drawback on moves like this is ridiculous. You get some interesting moves. You get of these, Haze is good, Confuse Ray is good, Disable's like decent, not great, and then the original level up moves. However, you also get really good TMs, and by really good TMs, I mean you get a couple really good TMs. In Prison, you can use this to beat other Calyrex potentially, depending on Dynamax and stuff. Trick Room is the big one. So basically with Trick Room, you're able to make your Calyrex super slow. Or you're able to use Ice Form Calyrex as a Trick Room setter, which is really interesting. And then of these, I would pretty much mention Trick Room, but Ghost Horn actually gets Speed Swap as well. And Speed Swap's a really interesting tech move, which like is useful in certain situations. So you could actually use that. Like, you can run Protect, Ghost Move, Coverage Move, or Nasty Plot, which I didn't even touch on, but you can run Nasty Plot with this thing. And then, yeah, just sweep. And then run Speed Swap for like a slow Pokemon if you want as well. Additionally, it gets a couple other interesting moves. Encore and Trick, not going to be great, but they have some niche uses. Leaf Storm for coverage, Ally Switch, Pollen Puff. And why did I think this thing got Will-O-Wisp? Does it not get Will-O-Wisp? Did I miss it? Okay, no Will-O-Wisp. Right? Yeah, no Will-O-Wisp. Okay, no Will-O-Wisp. I think that's one of the base formies. But yeah, so overall, lacking a little in move pool, however, really good support moves. Like, and the thing is, if you're running Protect, support, Stab, you can run Protect Dual Stab, honestly. It gets Psychic, right? It gets Psychic. So, like, yeah, you can just run Protect, Ice Move, Psychic, Trick Room, or Protect, Ghost Move, Psychic, and then support move of choice if you want, and that'll be solid against a lot of Pokemon. Not perfect, of course, like Incineroar, pretty strong against that, but yeah, like this is just my first look. Like, I'm sure there's some really interesting things you can do with it. I'm glad they introduced this thing personally. I think. First of all, we never had a Grass type legendary, and although like it's actually not a Grass type legendary. Sorry, we never had a Grass type restricted Pokemon. Let me be clear. All the restricted Pokemon like Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Mewtwo, Mew, Giratina, all those Pokemon, we didn't have a Grass type one. Now they did introduce Calyrex, but you're never going to use a Grass type Calyrex. You can see by the typing, it's Psychic Ice and Psychic Ghost. Like for the ones you're actually going to use. This is a typo, by the way, Joe. If you're watching this should be Ghost or Ghost Rider, whatever it's called. What's it called? Shadow Rider. It should be Shadow Rider. But yeah. Yeah, it's still not really functioning as, like, you never use base Calyrex, but, yeah. So I guess I wanted to make this video for the people who are thinking about which rider to get. If you want to use Ice Rider, you're going to need to reset for 0 speed. I chose Ghost Rider because it's easier, and because, the other thing to note is that I think that the base Horsey formies might be legal in VGC, so we'll take... Should we take a look at that now? I'll do a more fleshed out video on how to use these things. So let's just take a quick overview. It's the individual ability. It's Grimnay, which means it's Beast Boost for special attack. But the most important thing here is that it's pure Ghost type, which is probably obvious. And then the stats. So it loses some speed, it's not quite as fast, it's not quite as strong, and it's not as bulky. Still a really good Pokemon. This Pokemon's main weakness at first glance is that if you look at the moves like Nasty Plot, Calm Mind, Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, which is why I thought the other one got it, Haze, there's no coverage moves. It only gets Ghost Attack, which is Shadow Ball, which isn't even that strong. So although the stats are good, like, I don't think this thing is going to be phenomenal just because, like, you compare this to a Pokemon like Landorus, and it's, like, severely lacking. The Ice one is probably better of the base formies. It's slower. It's base 30 speed, which is really slow. Good, bulky, and strong. So it's overall, its stats are a lot better. It gets Icicle Crash, it gets Lash Out. High Horsepower, Heavy Slam, Close Combat, Superpower, Iron Defense, Throat Chop. Like, even in this little section, Mega Horn, lots of good moves. So this thing is probably better as a base form, even though the Ghost one might be better. I don't know. It's kind of unclear which is better as the combined form. But yeah, the issue with this is that it loses Trick Room. So, because it's not a Psychic type, like, although it's a bulky, pure Ice type, like, I think this thing is good, legitimately. I think this thing is legitimately good and, like, could actually get some usage. However, yeah, like, it doesn't have Trick Room, so you're gonna have to, it's gonna be difficult to support it, in my opinion, because although it's slower, the lacking access to Trick Room itself, like, means, yeah, like, it pretty much needs to be in Trick Room to be able to function. That being said, I'm glad they added a nice Ice type Pokemon with good physical defense and good HP. Like, you could easily run max HP, max attack on this thing, and then, like, so many items work on it as well. Life Orb, White Herb you could justify potentially, a Weakness Berry, maybe even Weakness Policy. Does it get Ice Shard? It probably should. That's stupid. Wait, I had to bookmark by accident. Yeah. With Lumberry could be good on this thing. Yeah, like overall, it's a cool Pokemon. So, in summary, both the fused forms are really good, depending on the metagame, because like when you're playing with the fused forms, you'll also have to consider like Ground on Kyogre, like the restricted Pokemon, right? So it's not in a vacuum. However, if we assume that these Ice and Ghost horses are legal in a non-restricted format, but like a legendary format with like, you know, Landorus, Incineroar, Tapu Fini, all those things, I would say the Ice one is better. Oh, Assault Vest, that was the other item you could justify using on this thing. I think the Ice one is significantly better when you consider non-Dynamax format. So if you are thinking about which horse to build, I would say if you want it in the short term, take the Ice one, reset for 0 speed IV. If you want it in the long term, unclear, but they're both good in the long term. So if you took the Ghost one, like I took the Ghost one because I didn't want to reset and because I didn't really think about it too much. But now I've thought about it more, so now I can pass this on to you. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about and which horse you chose. But yeah, it's a really cool Pokemon, and we'll have daily Crown Tundra. There's so much stuff I want to do with regards to Crown Tundra, so keep your eye on the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.